look, I think a lot of those games, Yorion would not have improved our matchup. Like, let's go take a look here, sir. Turn details. So this matchup, I mean, we don't count this one. This is a this guy just like fucked up. Against Titan, we lose. Against this Sun one, we won anyway. Maybe it would have helped. Maybe. Against Titan, again, we lose. Yorion doesn't help here. This one, again, like, they ramped up. Yorion doesn't help. I'm not updating Yorion. Let's just have a little breakdown here at the end of the stream here. Let's take a look here. Okay, we're gonna just like rip apart Spider's list. Actually, I think I have Spider's list on here. Spider Yorion, yeah, okay. I'm gonna do a little breakdown here on why I don't like this Yorion list. So what Spider has done to mitigate Yorion. This is still an accurate list, right? What's this one? Yeah, this is his 5-0 list from, this is this list. Right, yeah, one wins, okay. So you can break this up into chunks, right? So we have we'll take out the extra 80 cards. Here's all the extra cards that we're playing. This is all extra as well. All right, this is basically our regular taxes list, right? We got our 4 Giver, 4 Path, 4 Vial, Arbiter, Mystic, Thalia, Wisp, Apparition, 3 Equipment. This is it. It's up to his personal collection. Now what he's done is that if you break up the we're gonna select the sideboard way out of here. And of course this is all just my opinion. I'm not saying I'm not inside Spider's head. I mean, like the Discord that Spider's in, like this Discord, I can get a link to this, right? Can I get a link? Invite people. Copy. Like this. So yeah, so I'm not gonna claim to know what Spider's thinking. This is just what I think is going on with this list when I analyze this. Right, these are our extra 13 cards, right? So Yorion really only gives you 13 spells because you have to keep your land base balanced, right? But we'll still talk about land base in a second here. But we'll break up the taxes deck into a couple sections here. So we have Giver Runes as our like 1-drop, right? As like protection. Giver Runes is a like protection card, 1-drop card. We have Path to Exile as our non-creature based removal, right? You also have Apparition also fits in this like in this like 8-card removal suite. Flicker Wisp is its own thing. You know, it's a Swiss Army knife card. People have called it a Swiss Army knife for a while. It's basically like blink your permanents, reuse ETBs, or blink our opponent's stuff. We have Thalia as our taxing to non-creature spells. And we have Arbiter for Search Hate. And then we have Clock. This is, and I guess Somber Mystic is like Clock. So here, let's fix this up a little bit here. Wow. We're going to do some rearranging. Yeah. Arbiter. There you go. Arcantos has the legacy link there. So this is how the taxes deck is broken up. You have Vial in some category as our like mana acceleration. We have Mystic in the equipment package as our like clock and like control elements. We have Giver Runes for protection. We have Vial or we have Path and Apparition for removal. We have Thalia to hate on non-creature spells. We have Arbiter to hate on searching. We have Wisp to reuse ETBs such as Something Mystic and Apparition. Now, what I think Spider has done is he's filled out these other 13 spells with quote unquote duplicates of these cards. But of course, you can't duplicate all of it. Yeah, Archon's here. So if we, and so these cards also fit into these slots as well. So Charming Prince goes under like blinking effects, right? This is Harmony Knife. I mean, this list does have 2 Archon main. It just has 4 Thalios. But anyway, we have Mind Sensor for Surge Hate. We have Archon of Myria, which also taxes, in a way, fits into this kind of Thalio spot. People have described Archon as like additional Thalios. Bugler is more like grind. We could put it under Stoneforge Mystic as like grind stuff. Spellskite is protection, and then Winds is removal. So if you look at it, all that this list has now is additional cards that do what the original list is doing, but like slightly worse. Right? Archon isn't quite the same as Thalia. Mind Sensor isn't quite the same as Arbiter. And of course, we all know Prince isn't the same as Flicker Wisp. As well as Winds of Abandon isn't quite Path to Exile or Skyclave Apparition. Skite isn't quite Giver of Runes. And of course, Bugler is nowhere close to Stoneforge Mystic, but we put it here because it's the closest comparison we can make. If you want, you can really put Bugler in its own side thing here. But I think it fits right here. And then for the land situation, I mean, you can still run Blaststone and Castle Ardenvale. We did that in our own list. Worked fine. You can still run your Canopy lands. Fine. The advantage that this list has, but still falls into this kind of this kind of logical, or this logic, is that Ghost Quarter pairs with Arbiter as our Surge Hate, right? Right, for like land destruction and stuff. And Field of Ruin is just a shitty Ghost Quarter, right? It's just a worse Ghost Quarter. So to fit Yorion in our list, all we've really done is padded it with worse effects of cards that we're already running. The only argument I can see are like Archon and like Mind Sensor. Like these are still very good cards, which is why you see them in sideboards. Field of Ruin is a different card entirely, but I mean, it tries to fill in this same gap. If we could, we'd be running 4 more Ghost Quarters here, right? Skite, sometimes in sideboards. Bugler, not really. Winds, sometimes, right? Like, so this is why I'm not a big fan of Yorion, because it's like, why would are all these extra like fluff cards, this like extra padding? Is this all worth it to play a 4/5 flyer as an 8th card in your hand? You got to pay 3 to draw, right? That blinks your stuff. Because even then, like the Yorion blink, what synergizes with Yorion blink? Sparks try to take advantage of this. We have Apparition. We have Stoneforge Mystic. We have Batter Skull. We're going to move these out of the way here. Is that about it? Bugler also fits here. We'll break up the new cards. Also, put the extra cards over here. Okay, so so Maul also is over here. So Yorion, the real advantage of Yorion, right, is that not only is it a 4/5 flyer, but it also blinks a bunch of shit, right? The thing is, the only things that we want to blink, because this is the regular package, this is already in taxes. Bugler and Prince are the new additions. This is new stuff. Winds of Abandon, Spellskite, Archon, Aether Mind Sensor get 0 value off of Yorion blinking them. So are these cards plus this extra fluff worth Yorion? I personally don't think so. That's why I don't like these 80 card Yorion decks. Especially because like this also falls into the classic mono white bad card scenario of it's good when you have shit on board or when you're ahead, right? When you're ahead or even, Yorion's pretty good. If you're behind, sometimes Yorion can bring you back in, sometimes not. If you're up against a deck that is blowing up all of your shit, Yorion does nothing, right? Like if I have a Thalia out and a Mind Sensor, what does Yorion do? Nothing. Right, you gotta draw one of these, or you gotta have a board of some of these 20 out cards, which is a fair amount, which, like, is fine. This is a lot of cards. But is it good enough? I mean, I don't think so. That's my assessment of it. I'm not a big fan of Yorion. People have been having success. So if that works for them, great. Maybe I'm missing something that other people are seeing that makes Yorion good. Maybe there's some sort of inherent advantage here. Yeah, some of these cards are still fine main deck, right? Like I mentioned, Archon and even Mind Sensor are good main deck, right? But like, do you want to run Charming Prince main deck? I mean, not really. Do you care about? I mean, Bugler is here specifically to cut back the hindrance of Yorion, right? We don't run Bugler in our regular list to help find Arbors and Thalias. Spellskite, like, I mean, do we want this main board? Do we want Wynn's main board? The only thing I'm seeing is that people want to run Yorion so they can run this package. They can run these 4 cards. People aren't running Yorion to run these. They're running Yorion to run these things. I mean, Spellskite is fine, but is it better than just having a smaller deck and drawing Giver more often? Yeah, Spellskite plus Giver, very good. But, like, it's 80 cards. With the only forms of card draw being Bugler. Nothing else draws you cards except for, like, sort of draws you specific cards. Spellskite does win games, but I mean, a lot of games are won just by Giver and something else. You don't need... Spellskite isn't, like, the card we've been missing. Otherwise, we would have been running Spellskite before Giver Runes. You know? Sure, Sophie draws cards sometimes, if you connect with Sophie. But Sophie is fucking slow. I'm actually pretty soft on Sophie these days. You're starting with an... Okay, and yes, you're starting with an extra card that you gotta pay 3 mana to draw. So... Right? So let's not pretend it's just a free extra card. It's like a bad clue that draws you a very specific card. You're playing a tutor. You're playing what is the card? Idyllic. Or no, you're playing a what's just a generic tutor. So I mean, we are losing Amulet a lot, but does Yorion make the Amulet matchup better? I don't think so. Archon is only okay against Amulet. Mind Sensor is good against Amulet. Arbiter is fine, which we're already running. This is nothing against Amulet. We're already running all this stuff. What do these extra cards do to help hedge the Amulet matchup? Right? Like, I'm not buying it. If you look at the Yorion decks that I've built, this is a Yorion deck that I've built in Pioneer, right? It's not modern, but the reason that I think that this Yorion deck runs, why this one is correct is that, one, we're running a lot of HP permanents, or permanents that benefit off of being reset. So, like, you know, this, and this, and this, and this, and all of this. So we're running 26 cards that benefit off of being reset. And these cards are hard to remove, right? They're not creatures. We're not getting them pushed or chiefs. That when we play Yorion, these are almost guaranteed to be around unless we're playing Doom, or unless we've been like Doomforge holding, right? These other cards are like a necessity. If we didn't have to run these, we probably wouldn't. So and yes, I agree that the way that Yorion works in this deck is different, but I think this is why Yorion does work in this deck, is because you have permanents that have ETBs that you can reuse or that benefit from being reset in the case of these Planeswalkers being like reset. And they're harder to get rid of, right? I play an Oath of Kaya. They are not gonna, even if this was modern, right? They can't push, they can't path. They have to like Assassin's Trophy it. But I've already got value out of this. I've already got value out of this. I got value out of this. Value out of this happen. All these things have already gotten their value. Right? If you look back at the Yorion list, back in modern here, I don't see enough of this deck benefiting from Yorion to be made worth it for the extra cards. Right, like if my board is like a Thalia, a Spellskite, and like a Wisp, and I play Yorion, what does this do? Yorion gets me one more end step Wisp activation on turn 5, mind you, right? Different scenario. If I have like Thalia, yeah, like Batterskull and Silver Mystic. This is a good scenario if Batterskull is dead. Right? If Batterskull is currently just an equipment, then we have 3 targets again, or we have 2 to get a second equipment, and we reset Skull. But I mean, if Skull's already out, we're just resetting Mystic. Is that good enough? I mean, we can draw Wisp to do that. Again, on turn 5. You know, we can reset and turn on turn 3 instead with Wisp. Right? Or, in some cases, people see up their Vial to 5, so it's turn 6. This is a turn 6 play. Is this insane value? I mean, I haven't played this list, no. So, I mean, I'm talking out of my ass here. This is a completely theoretical discussion of why I don't like this list. But, like, if you have a board with, like, Thalia, Bugler, and, like, Wisp, like, yeah, this looks nutty, of course. You play Yorion, right? You wisp out the Bugler, you draw a card, you wisp out the Wisp thing goes to another card, blah, blah, blah. This is crazy, right? But I don't think flickering one creature is enough for this deck to succeed. If I want to flicker out one creature, I'll play Flicker Wisp, you know? So that's why I'm pretty soft to this list here, this little dealio. So, and this is not to mention what this does to your sideboard. Look at how many Revokers that and 4 Tender Spider has to run. And plus the additional Mind Sensors for the 2 in the main. So if you see his sideboard now looks like this, really. This is what his sideboard actually is. You know, Graveyard Hate, Activated Ability Hate, Burn. Right? It has to run 4 of these cards. You're gonna get the luxury of running Cage. You're running 2 Cage, 2 Cleric, 2 Archon, 2 Aven, 2 Executioner, 2 Dismember, 3 Portenders, right? You get a little more versatility here. Like, you know, I'm doing a similar thing with like Graveyard Hate here, but I mean my sideboard is way wider. See, I don't know if this does stomp the main deck, or if this does stomp fair decks. Right. Next time we'll play it. We're not going to stream it today, but sure. We'll play it next time, see how it goes. I'm not a fan of this. I don't think it's correct. Like, sure, you get to win some fair matchups, but maybe this is a bad. I mean, this is a bad sample size. But we would have lost. We probably would have still lost this. We would have still lost this. We might have actually lost this one. This like white Titan match. We probably still would have lost this, and then this one doesn't count. So all I see from going Yorion is losing one of the matches that we won, because we were low to the ground, we were fast, we drew cards that we needed that we needed. The game didn't go on super long, right? The game that we lost, this one, 17 minutes. Game that we won, 2 minutes. Game that we won, 3 minutes. Right? And of course, this is a victim of the clock. But that's what I mean. So, you know, we will try it next time. I'll put my money where my mouth is, but I'm not a fan of the Yorion, and this is why. No! I clicked something big by mistake. We're terrible. We do play slow, yes. Ugh. Yeah. So, we will see. We will see. The reason why I liked this list better, because yes, we did try our own Yorion list, and we did terribly with it. So I'm not going to defend this deck based on its performance, which is terrible. But what I will defend on it is the fact that we were going for a more toolbox look, right? So that all of these one-ofs, you know, all of this is not impacted by the Yorion plan, right? Because we're probably going to draw these Winger Captains, right? The odds of drawing this pretty high, and then we get access to all of this, which is why I like this idea better, which is why I like Copter better. So you draw more cards, kind of thing. It lets you cycle through your deck, find more of it. This mitigates the 80 card thing. But again, that begs the question: why are we running cards to mitigate 80 cards we've already done to ourselves when we could just play 60? You know, are we running cards like this and like this to mitigate the 80 card hit? Is this enough value that we water our deck down with these like halfway happy cards that try to make our deck function like 60, but it's actually 80? I don't know. So that's our stream. Thank you all for coming. I'm Offie Hero, also known as Derek.